Like, what the fuck does that say about you guys?
All right. Anyways, we're started off this week. I already started recording. The first thing that Josh says, or this is a, you know what? Forget it. This is gonna be another hot episode. Don't watch it with the kids. We start off first sentence. What the fuck are we talking about? And we are live, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Hot Stove Podcast. A little bit of bridge this time. There's only three of us right here, right now. Mark will be joining us later at some point. I don't know. I'm your host, Zach, and I'm here with these two goons.
Austin here, speaking live.
Josh.
I see. I saw the look on Josh's face. He was excited for Austin to not say anything. He was looking.
I was.
Anyways, a couple things about tonight. I figured at least, because I'm the one that calls the shots. So you think this is a democracy because there's 5 people on this podcast? Absolutely not.
He didn't ask us all about this, by the way. He didn't ask if it'd be okay to run it this way. He just said it. He demanded it.
Really, I mean.
To be fair, I said it in the chat and I asked everybody's opinion on it. So what we're going to do tonight is going to be, we're not going to have our normal episode tonight. To be 100% transparent, I'm not really feeling up to doing a 2-hour podcast right now. So game 1 of the World Series is on. I'd rather watch that. And sometimes shit gets boring and you want to switch it up. So what we're going to do this week, we're not doing trivia this week. We're not doing buy or sell this week. We are not doing a upcoming week 7 breakdown this week. All of that will return next week on next week's show. This week, it's going to be fairly tight. I'm sure with the rant that I already have written down here, will somehow still end up being an hour and a half long. But what we're going to do tonight is we're just going to go over our FanDuel lineups this past week. Then our main topics this week are going to be news and notes from the last week in sports. And then afterwards, we're going to go into our FanDuel lineups for this upcoming week 7 in the NFL, and we'll be out of your hair. It's going to be a fairly quick episode coming up. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And maybe our viewership percentage will be longer than like 5% this time around because we won't be as long. So anyways, this past week in FanDuel, let's see what the scores looked like this time. I should, pull it up more like well before we start recording because I do this every week. I have to waste time going through my phone. That's the golf contest.
Let it be known that it was rigged.
It was not rigged.
It was rigged. Nunez halted my point scoring right as I was about to catch him. He locked our teams.
That's not true. Anyways, in first place was me with 144.3 points. In second place, half a point behind. We had a close one this time. It was Austin with 143.86. Exactly 0.5 points behind me. Third place is Mark with 120.12. And then in last, bringing up the rear, is Josh with 118.42. This week might have been one of the best fantasy weeks of my life. I won like $50 in FanDuel this week across football, mostly football. And then I won money in both of our golf contests. So I won like $15 in golf. And I won money in a NASCAR contest this week. So yeah, it was a good week for me. I popped off. I had, when you have both Derrick Henry and Justin Jefferson, things go well. All right. That's generally speaking, things go well when you have those guys in your lineup. So now as it stands, in first place finishes, I have 2, Austin has 2, Mark has 1, Josh has yet to get a first place finish. You hate to see it. You don't. Second place finishes, Josh has 2, Austin has 2, Mark has 1. Third place finishes, I have 2 and Mark has 3. And then fourth place finishes, Josh has 4. I'm sorry, Josh has 3 for third place finishes. My apologies. We did take a week off, didn't we?
We didn't do it the first.
We didn't do it the week 1. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Something like that, because I know I only have 5 recorded here. Yeah, so I have 1 last place finish and Austin has 1 last place finish. And we will get into our lineups for week 7 at the end of the show. But first, let's get into our news and notes for the week. And we'll start with what's going on right now. Sunday night, what some are calling one of the best playoff games of the last decade happened. And I would agree. Game 7 of the NLCS, an awesome time. Austin, I know you watched it. Josh, did you watch the game?
No.
Oh,
I mean, it was on in the background. I was busy.
okay, I see. Well, it was a great game. And now guess what? The Dodgers win in very, very surprising fashion. Cody Bellinger hit a ball to the stratosphere to the stratosphere.
Yeah.
I had a stroke while I was saying that. He popped out his shoulder on the celebration. It was a great time. Now the Dodgers in the World Series, game's happening right now. What is it? Bottom of the
Third?
Going into the bottom of the third, correct?
We're tied. It's scoreless right now, bottom of the third. Glasnow and Kershaw. Austin, what do you think about this World Series? Tell me what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Who are you picking?
I think this is my type of World Series. You got pitchers galore. You got great starters, deep starting rotations, great relieving. But I think both lineups are hitting pretty well. I mean, the Dodgers, after going down 2-0 in the Braves series, hit well the rest of the series, had clutch at bats. I think the Rays, too, pretty clutch at bats. The Rook really gets it going for them. I still think the Dodgers win. I think, I'm a big talent wins guy, and it's pretty clear that a team who spends $1 trillion is going to have more talent. But I think it's going to be a pretty close series. I think 6 or 7 games is a given, but I still like the Dodgers.
What about you, Josh?
Well, I'm conflicted because as a man of the sport, of course, you got to think that I'm just only in for the figureheads of the sport. So the Dodgers would normally seem like a pretty standard pick that I'd like to go for here, but something's calling me to the Rays. Something, I don't know what it is about them, but just I really don't. I probably couldn't name more than 3 batters in their lineup. Choi.
Neither can Kevin Cash. That's why they have 900 people on the
But yeah, I don't know. I'm rooting for the Rays. I don't really have any analytical talk about it because, well, I'm not good at that, especially at baseball. But I just leaning towards rooting for the Rays this series. Kind of an underdog going into it. So
I'm rooting for good baseball. There's a lot of players that I like in the series. There's no players in the series that I actively dislike, so that's cool. I don't know if did you guys see the video that went around on Twitter like last week of Glasnow? There's an interview with Tyler Glasnow, and he was talking about why his fastball cuts.
Oh, you told me this, yeah.
Why he doesn't have a straight fastball. For those of you who don't know, Austin, I don't know if you saw this video or not.
Did not.
So the reason that Tyler Glasnow doesn't have a straight fastball, the reason that it's technically a cutter, even though it's a four-seamer, is because when he was in high school, he had surgery for carpal tunnel in his wrist. But by the time that he got around to having it, and by the time that it healed, his tendons in his hand right here, like up into his 2 fingers right here, had basically shrunk. So he can't open his hand like this.
Yeah.
Basically, his 2 fingers stay bent like that. This is as far as they can go. So instead of grabbing a fastball like this, like he can't put his fingers together. Instead of grabbing a fastball like this, he has to grab it like that. He grabs it split finger, which is why it has some strange movement on it.
I mean, that's just a better way to pitch, in my opinion. I don't think you should ever have a straight pitch. And I get the idea of a 4-seam, but even now, guys, like back in the day, and even when I was learning baseball, so not that long ago, you always threw 4-seam fastballs with your fingers apart. Now you couldn't catch a single pitcher in the MLB pitching a 4-seam fastball without his 2 fingers touching. 2 fingers touching is just going to create more spin on the ball. They want it to move more. That's just the way the game is now. Yeah. So I love it.
I thought it was a cool tidbit that I learned.
Yeah.
Also, who wants to hear a fun fact?
I'd love to.
Not trivia related. I'm not asking. Well, I guess
trivia!
I will. But the Dodgers in the NLCS scored the second most 2-out runs in a single series in Major League Baseball history, with 23 2-out runs in the series. Does anybody I'll give you each one guess. Can anybody tell me the franchise even?
The Yankees?
That have that did the most. The Yankees is not it.
Ah,
Clutch. We're thinking clutch franchises.
Well, I'll give you a hint. It's not a team that you really think about. Well, an anniversary of theirs was yesterday, actually.
Anniversary of theirs was yesterday. What day was yesterday?
October.
October
19th.
19th.
You only know the anniversary really if you follow This Day in Sports on Twitter. Not gonna lie.
Well, then I'm gonna have to go the Chicago White Sox.
That is not correct. The answer is the Houston Astros,
Ooh.
who had 24 two-out runs in the 2004 NLDS.
Yeah.
Their anniversary yesterday, by the way, was Jim Edmonds hitting a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 12th in Game 6 of the NLCS in 2004.
2004.
To send it to 7 games, a series that
This
the
is
Cardinals would go on to win, I believe, if I remember correctly.
This is what you need Mark for, because you would have said the Astros, and he would have said,
Oh, yeah.
2004. You remember that run?
You remember Jim Edmonds, don't you? Meanwhile, I don't know who the hell Jim Edmonds is. He could be the guy in this picture. I don't even know.
Corey Seager just hit a ball
I just see it.
5 feet outside the pole. It was very close to being a home run.
I love the aspect of the fans, even just a little bit. Love the fans being able to be there. That's the real winner of this series, you know?
The fans.
If Connor were here, that's what he'd tell you. He's just rooting for the fans to get a win. They sure have in baseball this year.
Anyways, let's move on to our NFL news and notes. I got 3 main things that we got to talk about here. The first one should be fairly quick. The first one is a bit of a news here more than a note. The Titans reported today, that the Titans fear that 3-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle Taylor Lewan tore his ACL. So I got the question for you. How big of a blow is that to the Titans offense?
I don't think you're gonna love my answer, because it comes with some slander on what I believe at this point is the second best healthy running back in the NFL. Well, assuming that now McCaffrey is allegedly healthy.
You're talking about Derrick Henry?
Yes.
Okay.
And is that I don't think he's necessarily very good if he doesn't get a few steps in front of the line of scrimmage. I don't think he can move laterally quick enough to be like a very good running back without getting that head of steam first. So I think that if this left tackle problem becomes really bad and they get some guys coming off the edge and hitting him before he can get some head of steam, it could actually be really bad for their offense.
I don't know as if it'll be quote unquote really bad. Like I can't see just like Derrick Henry just being awful for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
But it definitely doesn't help. Just by basic fact, having your best offensive lineman gone really hurts your prospects of being the most efficient offense in football. That's pretty simple.
Yeah, I'll tell you, offensive line, pretty important. Okay, pretty important. You get a guy in there like, I don't know, Terrence Steele, Brandon Knight, some loser rookie on the outside that just starts falling apart. It really makes some heads turn. So, yeah.
I wonder what team those guys play for.
Who's to say?
I don't know.
Never heard of them.
Neither have I. I legitimately had never heard of them.
Well, they're the starting tackles for your Dallas Cowboys, Nunez.
Yeah, I think it's something worth monitoring. I think Tennessee is clearly the best team in the division. It's not particularly close, to be 100% honest with you. And look, maybe I'm still underrating the Colts. I don't think I am, but maybe I am, you know?
We all know how me and Josh thought of Houston before the season. I'll tell you right now, I think Houston's better than the Colts.
They might be. Their offense is at least good.
Romeo Crennel.
I don't care that the Colts did put up 30 points on the Bengals. I don't. I really don't care. Romeo Crennel seems to be an awesome coach, by the way. He
is probably one of the most fun. I very rarely root for people outside of the Cowboys organization, but something about Romeo Crennel just I rooted for him. Like even yesterday in overtime, I'm like, damn it, if the Texans win this game, I look bad because I said they're really stinky. But also, if the Texans lose this game, Romeo Crennel loses, and I feel bad. So it was tough.
Also, to be fair, to be 100% fair,
yeah,
that loss yesterday had more to do with the defense being stinky than the offense being stinky.
Sure, 100%.
Texans offense, not stinky.
Texans went down twice and put together like a drive that you were like, wow, they're gonna win the game.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson is still a wizard as far as I know.
I totally agree with going for it, by the way. I don't know what you feel. You do?
I almost always agree with going for it.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of pushback on it, and I think like I don't understand the perspective that Tennessee just wouldn't have got a 2-point conversion. Like, I mean,
yeah,
and also the play worked. Deshaun Watson's pass got tipped. He was wide open. I think 80% of the time that is 2 points and the game's over. They win. So I don't know that we should really be bashing Crennel and bashing the decision. I like it.
On the flip side, we should be bashing Sean McDermott for not going for 2 when they scored the touchdown in the fourth quarter. It is, let's paint the situation here, right? They score the touchdown, 6 points. They are down by 7.
Yeah.
They punch it in. No extra point, no nothing, down by 7. If you go for 2 and you get it, it's a 5-point game. So when Houston goes down the field and kicks a field goal, it's still a 1-possession game. But guess what? When you kick the extra point, when you refuse to go for 2, 6-point, 7-point difference doesn't change anything because a score is a 2-possession game. That was just really bad game management.
Now I will tell you what could have impacted him there, Nunez. The spread was 5.
Yeah. Do you think he's a betting man?
I think he may. Who's to say?
If he's a betting man, he had that in mind. He should be fired. So that's that. That was poor game management, just generally speaking. And on the flip side, for example, I'm completely fine with Ron Rivera's decision to go for 2 at the end of the game against the Giants.
I agree.
Perfectly fine. Ron Rivera's always been the guy you play to win the game. I got much love for Ron Rivera, first Hispanic coach to coach in a Super Bowl. That man. I
think there's something to be said. Like, if your team goes all the way down and gets a game-tying touchdown, they're amped up. They have plenty of energy. They have the momentum. If you were to bet on them scoring that 2-point conversion, it would be over 50%. And in my mind, if that's the case, you go for it.
And generally speaking, like had they had, I said this in our chat yesterday, and I'll explain it. Had they had a quarterback who had half a brain in his skull, they would have gotten the 2-point conversion.
Sadly, I don't think they have any on their raw. Well, okay.
Instead of
the brain, but not the body.
Yeah, instead of rolling out to his left and backing up and just throwing the ball into the ether, when Kyle Allen rolled out to his left originally, he had a lane. He
doesn't trust his athleticism, man. He's a slow man.
I would like to see Alex Smith break for that hole.
Like if you watch the play, there's a very clear path to at least try for the end zone. There's a very clear path where worst case scenario he gets tackled at the 1.
You know? I wasn't going to bring it up, but
lane there that he just didn't take. He just decided to stop.
But we did bring up 2-point conversions, so I have to bring up the dog, Doug Peterson. I mean, I almost like everyone knows me. I never blame Wentz for anything thing, but like Wentz, like even snapping that ball, knowing what Doug Peterson just drew up, it's mind-boggling to me. Like, and to be fair, I even said it when it happened. Like, if he doesn't run into Boston Scott was back there with him. If he doesn't run into him, I almost think he's strong enough to split those guys and like just reach out into the end zone. But even then, what are we snapping the ball? They got 2 blitzers off the left side and nobody protected. And you're gonna run a read option on the left side?
Yeah, I watched that and I said out loud to my housemates, "What the hell did I just watch?"
It was so bad. It was bad. 2-point conversions this week were a disaster. Next week, look to get better.
Maybe. Hopefully. Speaking of which, Josh just sent us a link.
That's the link of the 2-point conversion play, Austin. It looks like he just gave up on his legs there. He didn't think he had it.
That's exactly what I was saying when I watched it.
Yeah.
If you watch it, actually pause. I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, okay. There you go.
We will watch it live.
You talking about the Kyle Allen one?
Yeah. I think he just gave up. He didn't think he had it.
I'm saying he didn't have no confidence in athleticism or anything.
We will break down the game film right here. Okay?
That was really the problem I saw.
You guys can see this, right?
Yeah, they can see it. Or we can see it.
Okay, so let's watch this play, right? That's just some good analytics work that we're doing right here. Right. So you watch this play. It starts. Kyle Allen looks over to his left. He sees that I don't know whoever at the top there. That's probably the guy he's looking for.
That's Dontrell Inman, I believe, right?
That's probably just the play, by the way, is just to throw that one-on-one back shoulder or something.
Yep.
Right. So that's probably who he's going to look for. So at first you watch him. He looks over there, looks over to the right, knows that there's going to be nothing over here except that guy right there.
Yeah, bottom right looks like he may have his best bet.
Is Antonio Gibson just running into the end zone right now?
I forgot I can use my cursor instead of my finger. So you watch it. This guy might be open.
Yep.
I wouldn't throw it there because it's
a tough pass, but it's possible.
Gibson, what about this guy?
Is literally cutting to the end zone, and there's no way that linebacker is going to be able to make a play if you throw the ball well
in front of him.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a 2-point conversion right there.
Sure.
First miss right here, wide open. I guess we'll see when we move down the play what happens, right? Okay. See,
he runs a bad route. Okay.
Ran a bad route. Covers him, right? So now this receiver's cut off. This one's cut off. This one's cut off.
McLaurin's cut.
This is McLaurin over here.
It's a tough throw.
McLaurin, tight throw, but you could possibly make it, right? So let's move forward. Now, this is where I was talking about.
Yeah. You're right.
At the best case scenario, or worst case scenario, it's just a challenge between him and that DB coming in down in the middle there.
Right.
And he's got to be able to tackle a quarterback full steam within a yard. I mean, it's a hard play to make.
This is the moment I was talking about. Let's look at it right here. Right here, McLaurin cuts in.
You also could have just
thrown it to McLaurin.
Right. Just thrown that ball.
If you think about it too, if he starts sprinting towards the 5-yard line, McLaurin's wide open because that guy's not going to stay on.
Yeah.
He has to make the play on Kyle Allen.
That's another thing. He's got 8 yards to work with here before he doesn't have to, or before he's not able to throw a football.
Yeah.
Yep.
So first of all, you can throw to McLaurin right here and hopefully throw him open or something like that. Second of all, you can see where his head's looking. Hello. All of this.
He wanted it.
Right here.
Can we also talk about the illegal contact that threw Antonio Gibson to the ground right there in the middle of it?
Yeah, that's true. That was ridiculous. Like, watch the way the linebacker plays this.
He just hits Antonio Gibson to the ground.
Literally just.
What? What is that? He just tackled him.
Anyway, so we go around here. Kyle Allen stops.
Also open. If he throws over the middle of the end zone, nobody can make that play.
Right here.
Yeah. Hell, or even 19. Look at Inman, I believe.
He's coming back on the inside. Yeah.
That's going to be a tough one. Yeah, at least make someone be able to make a play.
The throw he ends up making is disgusting.
Right. Yeah. So, all right, let's watch this in full speed now, right? So he stops here at the 8. Why? I don't know, but let's watch the play.
Here's your game. Allen looking, stopping, pumping, throwing incomplete. The pressure got.
So at the point where he decides here that he has nothing to do, he's screwed basically because Gibson's not. This guy's out of bounds, so he can't catch it. And McLaurin is now on the backside. The only way that he could possibly score here is if he throws this over the top to the corner and McLaurin goes for it. But then you also have this DB here. But here's the problem. Even more so.
He can't even stand.
He doesn't throw it.
Look at him. He can't even stand.
He just moves back.
That pump fake also just made no sense.
Yeah. So anyways.
That was bad.
I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Yeah,
we should do more film sessions moving forward.
I love this. I love the idea.
I like that too.
Mark has arrived.
That was really bad.
But yeah, so that. I hope that comes off well on the recording. Mark, we just did a little bit of hot stove film session.
Oh, what were we talking about?
We were breaking down the Washington football team's 2-point conversion yesterday at the end of the game.
Oh, I did not watch the Washington football team.
Okay, I'll repost the link in the chat so you can watch it.
Okay.
We just broke it down for like a few minutes, but it's
I like
bad.
that.
But it was bad in the way that I defend Ron Rivera's decision to call it. It was just very poorly executed by Kyle Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm telling you, that was just illegal contact.
Oh,
yeah, Antonio really Gibson bad. Did get assaulted.
Gibson got tackled. Gibson got tackled in the end zone. But yeah, we'll keep that one in the back of the noggin. We should do more hot stove film sessions moving forward. break down some film. We'll talk about that. Let's add some spice to it, Anyways, speaking of what Austin was talking about beforehand, let's talk about the Eagles for a second. And I don't really have much. Like, it's
That was
not like
terrible.
this week, let's talk about whether or not the Eagles are good. I don't have that conversation to have. Quite frankly, I'm sick of it. Same thing. Like, I'm sick of the fact that, like, I watched First Take this morning and it was just all Cowboys talk. Can we stop? Okay, let's time out for just half a second here, right? I know nobody of importance watches this show. It doesn't matter. But let me speak to you, all right?
Jeff Passan does.
Jeff Passan, friend of the show. Let me speak to you, sports media out here. Can we stop treating the Cowboys the same way that we treat coverage about Tom Brady, for example? Can we stop treating the Cowboys like they're the golden boys of football? Like, I get they're America's team and they were good 25 years ago, but right now they're just another team. They're another team that has a star on their helmet. To me, the way the Cowboys should be covered is no different than the way the Texans should be covered, or the way that give me another one. I don't know, the way that
Another bad team.
just another team.
I think
The
the
Arizona
problem
Cardinals.
is that they are also the most hated team in the league. So while they lose,
They're the most polarizing team. Yes.
Yeah.
while
because
they lose, they
No one's
usually cover.
indifferent on the Dallas Cowboys. No one's like, I could take him or leave
But
him.
the
It's like
problem-
the Yankees.
The problem is, here's the problem, right? Like, I have no problem talking about, the most important franchises. Like, there's no doubting that the Cowboys being the richest franchise in sports, like, are an important thing. You should talk about them. What is the point? Like, what is the point of exhausting wall-to-wall coverage on your talk show about this team? Why this team? We have the same conversation every week, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, the defense is bad, but now we're realizing that the offensive line is bad too. And Andy Dalton isn't very good anymore. And maybe Mike McCarthy is a bad coach. That's it. We've had this conversation 3 fucking weeks in a row. Can we stop?
Think about it. Like, even the Yankees, who like get talked about a lot, it's not this insufferable.
Well, because nobody cares about baseball coverage.
Yeah,
That's the sad truth there.
Yankees hardly get
No,
talked
I mean,
about on, like,
Internally
ESPN, for
in
example,
baseball talk.
people
like-
don't like baseball.
No, I mean,
Oh,
I'm just mean in terms of baseball talk alone.
Oh, okay.
Other teams get way more respect in baseball, like coverage wise, than anyone else does in the NFL compared to the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And
Well-
it's even more ridiculous to me because they're not exceptional in any way, shape, or form. They're just a team.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally nothing I can speak to minus the fact that the Cowboys are just the money machine. That's all it is.
I get it.
I get- yeah.
It's frustrating. And I know I'm speaking into the void, and I know it doesn't matter. And I know blah, 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 blah. But, like, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting to wake up every morning and turn on my television and just see people on a think tank talking about like, I watched the video, like, the Stephen A videos are kind of funny when the Cowboys lose, like the videos he posts on Twitter. But, like, I saw the video he posted today and I was like, what is the point?
Yeah. I
What's
agree.
the point? Like, I get it. I get that they get views and whatnot, but, like, I don't get the point of even getting worked up. And I guess it's me being a hypocrite because I'm doing the same thing right now. But, like, I don't get the point of being worked up over a team that's just a team.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing exceptional about them. They're too good to get, like, a top 5 pick. They're certainly too bad to even make the playoffs. Who
Well,
cares?
in every other division, yes.
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah. 6 wins is going to win the NFC East this year, so I guess I'm right about that one. It's just,
Yeah.
I know it doesn't matter. It's exhausting is really what it is.
I agree.
I agree. I'm tired of talking about the Cowboys. I've been tired of talking about the Cowboys for going on
To be
better
fair,
part of 2 decades.
I'm just tired of talking about the NFC East.
I
Yeah.
agree.
100% honest with you. The
It's
NFC
pretty
East
nauseating.
seems to be the only division in sports that people care about. I don't get it.
Hear me out. If the quarterbacks in the NFC East were Jalen Hurts and Andy Dalton, like the rest of the season, it would be a lot less nauseating. But when it was Dak Wentz, it's been nauseating for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, which one's better? Oh,
Yeah.
There are other things to talk about.
Yeah.
I watched First Take today, and there wasn't, or I guess it happened before Tua was announced as the starter. So I guess I can't say that, right? But like, I have just a sinking feeling that there will be more coverage of the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow on First Take than there will be about a top 5 pick in this last year's draft. Cody Bellinger just hit a ball to the moon, and we have our first runs in the World Series.
Go Cody.
Cody Bellinger just took Tyler Glasnow deep. His 4th home run of the season. It's 2-0 Dodgers in the bottom of the 4th. Anyway,
Wow. Props to the center fielder there.
Kevin Kiermaier is a very good
He
defender.
really went all the way out there, though. I mean, he was all the way over that friggin' fence.
Okay. Well, Josh has to leave in a couple minutes. So
Sorry.
Well, no, it's
Yeah,
fine.
thanks for putting that in chat, which people can see.
Oh yeah, it does come up on the.
Does it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. If whoever's.
But before Josh leaves, we'll get into. Josh, why don't you tell us your FanDuel lineup this week?
Yeah. So for my Forbes FanDuel fuck 'em up lineup of the week, again, I've got. I've gone back to the stack. The stack is the only thing that I've got going for me. Really cheap option here. The mustache is back. Gardner Minshew, 7,200 against the Chargers. I really like that pick with DJ Chark as the little stack 'em up option. Again, we talked about it. I'm sure you're going to be seeing a lot of Boston Scott in these lineups, so he's my first running back, just out of respect. You know, he could have been a flex, but no, out of respect, you put him in the running back spot. Also with him is Alvin Kamara, really high priced against a pretty stinky run D in Carolina, so like that pick. Also, CeeDee Lamb just seems to not take anything out of his target share, even without Dak. Great pick for 6,200. So really cost efficient pick there. Last wide receiver coming off is Julio Jones against a Detroit team that I think is just setting up to be an absolute shootout this weekend, Detroit and Atlanta. So I like Julio there. And tight end wise, this guy is just waiting for the big explosion. Evan Ingram in New York. It's going to
Been
happen.
waiting for 2 years.
I mean, the Dallas game was a glimpse of what he could be, but it's got to happen soon. So Evan Ingram also 5,700, good buy there. The flex play, Aaron Jones against this Houston defense. You saw what Derrick Henry was able to do. See what Aaron Jones does.
I did see what Derrick Henry did to the Houston defense. He did a little bit of this, if you know what I'm talking about.
So, and then not leaving much to play with, but defense, I went with the Dallas Cowboys because it can't be that bad forever, right? Right? And I mean, they play in Washington.
So they also play Washington this week.
Yeah.
So whatever. But all right, sorry guys, I got to peace out. So
bye, Josh.
appreciate it, guys.
See you later.
Have fun.
Anyways, that was a pretty good lineup. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I like the lineup. I like it. Also, I mean, did you see how many targets for only having 7 catches for 45 yards? Did you see how many targets he got this week?
Didn't he get like 15 targets this week?
14.
Yeah. Which is insane coming off of that ankle injury that he had.
Yeah.
I'm currently redoing my lineup because I just hated it from the start.
It'd be
Like I filled it out and I was like, this is terrible. So I'm doing it again.
I'm super into my lineups this week. I'm feeling really good about them.
Me and Zach have similar lineups, I'm gonna assume.
See, I took your quarterback.
Who's quarterback?
You had Herbert, right?
Oh, that's my main slate lineup. The lineup I said you guys wasn't for our contest.
Yeah, but I took Herbert and then I was thinking about it and I was like, nah, I don't really like this. Just not feeling it.
Anyways, next topic here. Because we are still recording a podcast, unbeknownst to the people in this chat right now. Let's talk about the Eagles for just half a second, right? So,
I'd love to.
like I said, and I know, I guess it's hypocritical based on the rant that I just went on, right? But I think it's an interesting conversation to have, and it's hardly anything to do with what we've seen on the field. Do you think the Eagles are what the Chargers were for the last 5 or 6 years?
We won a Super Bowl though.
Well, okay, so I have a bunch of things written down here that I wanted to bring up. What I mean by that is like they're the team that's really talented, but they're never healthy. So they're
absolutely.
They're in this weird spot. They're in the Eagles have the real problem of like and I assume it's, I guess it's the problem of their fan base and their front office. I don't know. I'm not really tuned into the Eagles fan base, so correct me if I'm wrong. But it seems to me that the assumption is like they're a team that's like, instead of shaking up the roster and bringing in new guys that may not get injured all the time, they just have the mindset of once we're healthy, we're a Super Bowl team. And now you've said once we're healthy, we're a Super Bowl team so many times that now you're just old and hurt and you have no money.
Yeah, that's sort of where we are.
That's
I think I agree to an extent. I think like they just want Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey to be gone. And once that happens, they'll commit more to new receivers, different receiver type things. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty evident in the draft that like they just were like, no, I mean, we got guys. Once they're healthy, we're fine. And it's like,
well, that the offensive line is like the first thing that I thought of.
Yeah.
oh, I think there's a little bit more injuries than the norm
Well, yeah,
going on in that.
no,
department
I understand.
now,
I'm
but
just saying.
yes.
I'm just saying, like with the injury problem, specifically with like Jason Peters, for example, right? Like
Mhm.
he's had a quite a bit of injury problems the last couple of years, and he's no spring chicken.
He's one of those guys I feel like he's there just for a locker room presence, mostly. I mean,
Do
he's
you guys
done,
remember?
But I my question is like, why not even like draft a guy?
They drafted Andre Dillon.
yeah.
Was it this year?
No, 2 years
No.
ago.
No.
To play left tackle, but he's been subpar at that position, to say the
Mhm.
least. So
He's not good.
yeah, I mean they've tried moving him into guards. He's done a little better there, but yeah, but they do draft offensive linemen. It's just they don't pan out like Lane Johnson did. But yeah, I don't know. I agree. I think that's their mentality is we just won a Super Bowl within 5 years, so why not just keep this roster similar and be healthy and win again?
And
Yeah,
I feel
don't
like
like it.
you like when does it get to the point where like I'm not a big believer in the guy's always hurt, that's his fault. Like with like a Deshaun Jackson type, like there's something to be said if like a guy gets hurt a lot, but you know, it's also one of those things maybe he won't, like, because Deshaun Jackson is still the type of guy that I would like to have on my NFL roster, not as a number one receiver, but as, you know, a solid number 2 or 3 option. I think he could be very effective when healthy
Yes.
still.
I think when assessing someone as injury prone, I think that's the term that we want to use here, right?
Yeah, injury prone.
When we assess someone as injury prone, I think it depends on the kinds of injuries, right?
Yeah, if a guy
Carson
has a
Wentz-
separated shoulder and then a broken leg,
Carson Wentz to me is not injury prone.
no, because they're all unrelated.
Right.
They're unrelated and they're major. It's not like every other week he's missing practices, missing games for like hamstring problems, ankle problems.
Right. And
knee
He's never had a
problems.
minor injury.
Deshaun Jackson the last few years has just been a pileup of soft tissue
Yes.
injuries.
That is true.
Alshon Jeffrey has been a pileup of soft tissue injuries and
Yeah, I mean,
injuries and that
I
kind
think
of stuff.
like, I mean, we know what mold of receiver is normally like injury prone, hamstring wise, those type of things. That's the type of receivers they've just been going for. Like this offseason, like the Jalen Reagor, Marquise Goodwin, getting Deshaun Jackson healthy type receivers is like, I don't, it seems so naive to think as a team who's dealt with so many injuries that you're just going to get those guys and they're just going to be healthy.
Yeah.
It seems crazy.
Yeah. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, I agree.
And if
That's fair.
nobody has anything else to add, we can move on to our last bit of news and notes for this week. It was the breaking news of the day. Some of the most exciting news in the NFL so far this season. Tua Tagovailoa has officially been named the starter of the Miami Dolphins. I don't know about you guys. I'm very, very excited about this. We all know my weird investment with Miami sports, just generally speaking. As a Heat fan who also unashamedly loves the Miami Marlins, I think it's fun when Miami teams are good. All right, that's it, right? And I
Because
think
Miami usually has fun teams.
the Miami Dolphins are a fun football team.
Yeah, like the Marlins were a fun baseball team. The Heat were a pretty fun basketball team. I don't know if Jimmy Butler's qualifies as fun.
Jimmy Butler certainly qualifies as fun. You're just grumpy.
No, I was just throwing it out there. He could be kind of a douche.
He qualifies as passion.
Oh yeah, pure passion. I'm not saying he lacks.
You're telling me that you see the CEO of Big Face Coffee and you don't think he's fun?
That's fair. Man does own a coffee company.
Yeah. Come on now. Jimmy Butler's fun. What kind of question is this? But I got a bit of a rant that I don't want to go on, but I already wrote it down, so I'm going to. Basically, spare me your thoughts, Twitter analyst, keyboard analyst, as I refer to him. I don't want to go on like I'm giving a speech or anything like that. Basically, when I saw the news break, I went to Schefter's tweet about it, and I saw a bunch of replies to it that were like, actually, Tua isn't going to do any better than Fitzpatrick. I don't understand. The Dolphins are just stupid. They're stupid, dumb idiots. They think that Tua's good. What about the guy with the beard? What the fuck? That's basically what I saw on Twitter. And last I checked, I don't think any of those people in those comments have a job with the Miami Dolphins. I don't think any of the people in those comments have watched Miami Dolphins practices enough to be able to tell me whether or not Tua has actually been performing with the team. So why don't you just buzz off? Go pound sand for all I care.
It's
right?
funny. One of those people was actually Adam Gase.
That's true.
You know, this team the past couple of years has been coached extremely well, and clearly the rebuild is going very well. You would think the last thing you would do is question the GM and coach right now making this decision.
Correct. But most of the, let me just say, mentally handicapped people in these replies, all they see is Dolphins, and they go, "Oh, LOL, Dolphin bad." I'm sorry, that was probably insensitive.
That was very insensitive.
That was probably not great. I apologize. But I have it written in my notes here. You haven't watched the Dolphins practice. You don't know how well the Tua has been playing. And you would have to be delusional to see this and not see this as a calculated move by the team. They're going into a bye week.
Yeah.
They've already had the kid come out and play.
It's almost like people forget that this dude was an absolute stud in college.
He got drafted to the silly fish team.
Like, Tua was so hyped before he got hurt. You know,
Tua
and
would have been the number 1 overall pick in the draft had he not gotten injured.
Yeah, absolutely. He was so hyped coming out of Alabama. It wasn't even funny.
I will say, the only reason I say that is because had Tua played against LSU, they probably would have won.
Yeah.
So
that's he would have been the number 1 overall pick, and all of a sudden, like, I remember hearing people. He goes, what was that, 5th to the Dolphins? They were 5th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes 5th to the Dolphins, and people were like, "Oh, Dolphins taking some kid with a bum leg."
Yeah, that's
like
otherworldly levels of stupid to assume that.
So stupid. This guy is good.
Live way too much in the now these days. Like, if Tua comes out his first game and throws for 150 yards and no touchdowns,
oh, he's a bust.
It's going to be like, yeah, he's just a bust. He's the worst player ever. I can't take it. That's all social media is now. It's literally like, watch one game of football and you know everything you need to know about every player. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. I so the rest of this I wrote down is like, we don't know what motivated the decision. We don't, because guess what? We're not on the coaching staff.
Yeah, and Fitzpatrick was playing rather well, and so it surprised some people. It didn't surprise me. I don't know if it surprised either of you guys.
Surprised me.
It did surprise me.
Only because it felt abrupt. Just generally speaking. Like, there wasn't a build up to it or anything like that. It was just like, it's happening.
After he came into the game, I know it was only, 2 snaps?
Yeah. But like, I mean, it doesn't, like, I'm not confused by it.
Yeah.
I just said, when I saw it, I was like, didn't think it was going to be happening today. Okay. That was my reaction.
Yeah, I don't know if the show knows. I mean, I've told you guys, I work with 2 Dolphins fans. I told both of them when it happened, and both of them did not expect it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them were like, "Oh, I understand it," but I did not see that coming.
Yeah, it was unexpected.
I'm not saying I saw it coming or anything, but I wasn't totally taken aback by it. Like,
Yeah.
Anyways, but the thing is, like, the last thing that Brian Flores has shown us as a coach is that he's dumb. Just period. Most likely, Miami Dolphins are being realistic about their prospects. Sure. Maybe they think they can get into the playoffs, and good for them. They might be able to.
yeah, they might sneak in.
Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility, and maybe they think that Tua gives them the best chance. I don't know. I guess we'll see when we get there. But maybe also they just considered the fact that the best time, if you're going to have a rookie quarterback play in his rookie season, the best time to do it is coming out of a bye week.
Mm-hmm.
You can get him double the time to prepare for a team with the first team. It's a gas. And it's a crazy concept, isn't it?
Nunez, it sounds to me like a couple of teams might need to use your expertise.
Like
on the field. I was thinking specifically the Adam Gase-led Jets. Yeah.
Spoiler, we were talking about the Jets.
I legitimately think that if you gave me a playbook, like, I can't come up with a playbook myself. I don't know how to do that.
That's true.
Yeah.
But if you gave me a playbook, I could coach the Jets better than Adam Gase. I'd put money on that.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
It's just a thought. Anyways, Austin, what were you about to say?
I said we were talking about the Jets before the show, and I just forgot to say one thing. They ruined what could have been an unbelievable AFC East. If that rebuild was handled correctly, we could have had 4 good teams all playing at the same time in that division.
It would have been easily the best division in football.
30 years.
Yeah, now we have 3 good teams and the Jets.
Yep.
Tough scene. Also, can we just talk about, okay, so I've watched a lot of football in my life, right? I'm 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching football my entire life. This past Sunday against Miami might have been the most pathetic performance I've ever seen.
It was so bad.
Like, it looked like legitimately like they were walking when the rest of the players were running.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if you saw, but at one point it took the teams combined until like 3 minutes left in the third quarter to get a third down conversion.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that in sports broadcasting tonight.
Yeah.
My professor brought it up. He was like, it was the fourth quarter, wasn't it?
Might have been early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, because he said at the start of the fourth quarter, the broadcaster said, neither team has converted a third down here tonight. And it's because the Dolphins were never getting to third down.
They were a combined 0 for 19 before the Jets got their first one.
Yeah.
But especially the fourth quarter. Like, the fourth quarter, I've never seen a team quit for an entire quarter before. The Jets quit playing football.
You know what was funny? In one of my fantasy leagues that we start 2 quarterbacks, someone was going to trade Joe Flacco to this guy because he didn't have a quarterback to start, and the kid said, "No, I'd rather start Jalen Hurts." And Jalen Hurts scored 1 less fantasy point than Joe Flacco this week. It was unbelievable.
That's one of the best fantasy related things I've ever heard.
That is something else. I'll tell you that much. But here's the thing, right? All I got to say is enjoy the ride. If you're going to be upset that Fitzpatrick got benched, go pound sand.
Yeah.
Enjoy your fun.
What are you doing being the old asshole who doesn't want to see Tua be good? I think I can speak for all of us when I say that Fitzmagic will never not be fun.
Oh, Fitzmagic's the best.
Well, just look at the way he's handling the situation.
He seems like the nicest human on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And I wish him all of the best for anything that happens.
He's responsible for the single hardest I've ever laughed at an NFL thing when he came out in Deshaun Jackson's clothes for the press conference.
It's incredible. And I want to read a statement that he had. I think it was today or something like that. I'll read it verbatim.
Kevin Kiermaier just had a solo shot off of Kershaw. It's now 2-1.
It's true. I just watched that. This is what Brian Fitzpatrick said. I think I've had such a great career in terms of the people I've met and the people that have helped me out along the way. And I just view it as paying it forward a little bit. And I've made enough mistakes for plenty of quarterbacks combined with the things that I've been through and done. And to be able to share those experiences, the good and the bad, with some of these younger guys, if I could be a smart part of helping them in their career and making them a better player, then that makes it worth. Then that makes it worth for me. I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for Mark Bulger and Gus for rowdy. I don't know how to pronounce that name.
Yeah.
Jamie Martin and a guy like Carson Palmer, who really took time and helped me out and went out of their way to make sure that I had a chance to be successful. When I think back to those years and those guys, especially a Carson Palmer and the way they affected my career, even just being able to observe and watch him every day, I feel happy and privileged to be in a position that I am now and to be able to pay it forward to someone like Tua.
What a guy.
If you think negatively about the situation, go pound sand. That's all I have to say.
I think you can just say what you actually want to say.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Because if you weren't going to say it, I was going to go fuck yourself if you don't like this situation.
That's it. The league is more fun when young players are good. That's all I have to say. I've said
Agreed.
it 1,000 times over again. In an ideal world, every single draft pick would be as good as advertised. Well, I should say that in an ideal world, 7th round draft picks would be a lot better than advertised.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, every draft pick would play like a 1st round draft pick. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Can you imagine?
We're actively rooting for Tua to be bad so we can see Fitzpatrick again. I like Fitzpatrick as much as this guy, but you can go shove it.
Could you imagine if these guys are all just robots and
Because that's a shitty
drafted
thing
them
to
based
say.
on attributes?
Yeah.
What I was gonna say, can you imagine how insane the NFL would be if everyone played like a 1st round draft pick?
It would be nuts. I don't even know how it would go though, because like the defensive players would be so good.
Yeah, but the offensive players would all
Also be so good.
They would all be Drew Brees and Kelvin Johnson.
Right. Like I don't even know how it would go.
The scores would either be 150 to 148 or 3-0.
Right. I think you'd see a lot of field goals. I think you'd see a lot of moving the ball down the field, but not scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, the
That's
league
what I
leader in touchdowns for a quarterback might have like 15.
Yeah. That's what Austin, what do you think?
I think it'd be incredibly dumb to watch. It'd be like, I don't know, like what? I think the whole point of football is watching like someone like McCaffrey just be better than everybody. If everyone's just insane, I think someone might die in the field.
It would be kind of nuts.
Can you
Honestly.
imagine like top speed Matt Breida like just running into like a guy who runs as fast as like or as big as Derrick Henry at linebacker running equal speed, just colliding.
Can you imagine 6 Aaron Donalds coming at a single
Yeah,
quarterback?
yeah, but then you have like 5 like I don't know like pick a offense your favorite offensive linemen.
David Bakhtiari.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Pick. I mean that's insane.
It's just nuts. It would be insane. Anyways, that's it for news and notes this week.
Every wide receiver cornerback matchup is just Brian Dawkins against Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, it's just prime time like Julio versus Revis.
Like I
This
said,
is why the Pro Bowl should be good. I'm just throwing that out there.
yeah.
That's why the Pro Bowl should be good, and it never is.
Yeah. So anyways, if you're rooting against Tua, go pound sand. And now it is time for our FanDuel lineups this week. Which one he wants to start? Josh already gave his before he left, but
You can go for it, Austin.
All right. My stack of the week up for debate here. I might change it, but I think I like it. I'm gonna go with Stafford and Galladay. Galladay has played 3 weeks and
Worked out so well for me last week, let me tell you.
And he has 57 and a touch, 62 and a touch, and then 105 yards. It seems like he's gonna get his every single game. Whether I'm hoping he scores this week, I think he does in a game that's high scoring. Boston Scott and Aaron Jones, I think Josh mentioned I have both of them as well. I'm pretty sure Zach has both of them as well, so it's pretty funny. but I just don't see how you can't play him. Green Bay coming off a week where Rodgers honestly looked terrible and threw interceptions that cost them, well, at least the first half of that game, because obviously they didn't do much better going forward. But I think they're going to commit more to the run, especially seeing how Houston played against it. This week, he went with Julio, Josh did. I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley because Julio caught 2 touchdowns last week, and so he won't catch another one for 5 weeks because that's just how it goes for Julio. So I see Ridley getting back in the end zone soon. And again, he's another one of those guys who just, aside from the week he played injured, he just gets hits every single week. It's pretty insane. And then my final receiver, Terry McLaurin. I don't like the quarterback play, so this is another one that's up for debate. But playing against one of the best corners in the league so far, last week against Bradbury, he went 7 for 74, which is respectable. And then this week playing Dallas, I mean, Dallas is just not good at football. I don't know what else to say. My flex, I went for another guy who I hope to have a bounce back week. In terms of like Aaron Jones's bounce back, Kareem Hunt. I think everybody's going to struggle against Pittsburgh, and I think his price at 7,100 for being a guy that I see as a top 5 fantasy guy right now with Chubb out, I think that's a solid price for a guy like that. My tight end, I don't really like the tight end, but I like his red zone targets, and he's been a top 10 tight end this year, fantasy wise. Jimmy Graham against the Rams. It's really, the way I pick tight ends is really just could he get a touchdown type thing? Unless I'm picking Kittle or Kels, it's can he score? And I think Jimmy Graham can do that. Then I went with the Eagles defense, who I think a lot of people will take, but Daniel Jones has been pretty bad. The Eagles sacking people like crazy, pressuring like crazy. I think they forced a couple turnovers, so I like that.
All right. For my, what's a good sponsor?
FanDuel.
No.
My FanDuel lineup of the week. My DraftKings FanDuel lineup of the week.
There we go. For my DraftKings FanDuel lineup of the week. With my we'll just stick with the Stanley Steamer stack of the week. I'm a big fan of that one. I've got Joe Burrow and Tyler Boyd.
Ooh, I like that.
Going up against Cleveland.
Who can't stop a single wide receiver.
What's that?
Mhm.
I said who can't stop a single wide receiver.
No, not a single one.
Nope.
I think this is a pretty good matchup. Cleveland's defense wasn't good on Sunday. I know Pittsburgh's a lot better than Cleveland is, but their defense just wasn't there. And, some people might argue maybe they'll play better, but I don't know. Just nothing about them impressed me. So I kind of like that stack, especially for, Boyd is only 6,000. And so you're getting a stack for a relatively low price with 7,100 for Burrow. My 2 running backs, I want Aaron Jones and Chris Carson. Chris Carson, notably good at football, and Arizona is sort of middle of the road against the rush. FanDuel has him rated 17th. So, he's usually a good bet to get some yards, probably get in the end zone. He tends to do that. My other 2 wide receivers, I went with Amari Cooper against Washington. I think there's a chance he finds the end zone this week. Found it last week. He's got 2 on the season. And Keenan Allen, who my original stack was Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen, but I changed it. So Keenan Allen, I like him against Jacksonville. Jacksonville, not good.
Stinky.
Just throwing it out there. Very stinky team. And he's supposed to play this week. It was just back spasms that he dealt with last week. It was nothing sort of lingering.
That's long as analysis by Mark right there. Jaguars not good.
No, bad. For my tight end, I also went with Evan Ingram because Philadelphia also very bad. And I really think there's a pretty good chance he scores this week. My flex, I want something a little different. I went with Todd Gurley as my flex.
Actually, surprisingly, don't hate that.
Yeah, they're playing Detroit. What, you said you hate that, Zach?
I said I wince every time I hear that name.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't hate it.
They're playing Detroit, and Todd Gurley has 5 touchdowns on the year.
He is
Yeah.
a touchdown
He
dog.
scores, and Detroit's stinky.
Yeah, so I think he's a pretty good bet for at least one, if not two. He does have 1 2-touchdown game on the year, and that came against that came against Green Bay. So I'm not going to say equally stinky, but their defense isn't exactly lighting up this.
Green Bay's run defense is very stinky.
Yeah.
It is.
So going up against another stinky run defense, I think he's a decent bet for a couple of touchdowns. Why not?
He's been betting for a couple of touchdowns. Book it. That's Mark's lock of the week.
Mark's Lexus lock of the week is Todd Gurley will have at least 6 touchdowns against the Detroit Lions. And for my defense, I also went with the Cowboys because sort of like Josh, I'm like they can't possibly keep this up against the Washington football team. They just can't.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's time to get into the winning lineup this week.
Did you win last week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's ready for it, ladies and germs? It is time for my FanDuel lineup of the week, and we will start with my Lay's stack of the week here. My stack this week, I went very expensive with my stack this week. We're going to go Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins with the stack this week. You know what?
Yes.
The Seattle pass defense is? The Seattle pass defense is, como se dice?
Dookie cheeks.
Dookie cheeks.
We can't really do
DeAndre
that.
Hopkins. My Liechtenstein lock of the week here is 70 catches for DeAndre Hopkins.
70?
Yeah, did you know that this past week, according to FanDuel, he had 0 targets and 2 catches? According to FanDuel. He did.
Murray just threw the ball at someone else, and DeAndre Hopkins came out of nowhere and caught it.
Yeah, he did have 2 catches, but he did not have 0 targets. So, anyways,
throw to Kenyon Drake.
The Seattle defense is stinky. That game should be high scoring. We like that, right? My 2 running backs are Austin's running backs. I went with Boston Scott and Aaron Jones. Boston Scott, I said this before we started recording, should be in every single cash game lineup this week. On FanDuel, he's only $4,600.
Oh, no wonder I didn't see him. Christ.
Yeah, $4,600.
Changing my lineup.
He needs to be in every single cash game lineup this week. Undoubted cash game lock. 0 questions asked this week in daily fantasy. Tournaments, I would stray away. I would definitely not go with Boston Scott in tournaments this week. He's going to be a very popular play. Just skirt away from it, if you're doing that full week tournament. My Aaron Jones, Houston's run defense just got what's a nice way to say fornicated with? The Derrick Henry just did the nasty with the Houston defense.
Just throwing it out there, Boston Scott is in as my flex over Todd Gurley, and I now have DeAndre Hopkins instead of Amari Cooper.
That would have been interesting if you put DeAndre Hopkins in at your tight end.
Listen, if I could, I would never take a tight end, and I would take 4 receivers.
Oh yeah. That's 100%.
Yeah.
My other 2 receivers this week, I went with Stephon Diggs. This man is legitimately, outside of fantasy terms, I think I'm fairly comfortable in saying that I think Stephon Diggs is easily a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. In terms of like talent.
I have to tell you, thank God Josh isn't on the show because you couldn't find someone who hates him more than Josh.
I think Stephon Diggs is one of the 10 best wide receivers on planet Earth.
Josh actually said yesterday that all 3 Cowboys receivers, maybe even Noah Brown, are better than Stephon Diggs.
Okay. Well, anyways, Stephon Diggs has had at least 6 targets in every game. No need to question that. This man is an absolute monster with Josh Allen throwing the ball. And guess what? They get to beat up on the Jets this week. That's the fantasy cheat code. There are 2 fantasy cheat codes this year. Running backs against the Jets because they can't stop the run and teams are going to be up by 900, and literally anyone against the Falcons. Those are your 2 fantasy free spaces to take every single week this year. Speaking of the Falcons, my 3rd wide receiver is Russell Gage. I didn't go with Calvin Ridley. I didn't go with Julio Jones. I went with the man, Russell Gage, who in every single healthy game he's played this year, he's had at least 4 targets. It's not massive, but it's also not terrible, and I'll take it at 5,300. And mind you, when I'm building this lineup out, I said don't put Boston Scott in a tournament lineup, but this is actually just a tournament lineup that I put in our contest. So I went against what I said, and I have Boston Scott in my tournament lineup.
I also just put in a lock that Todd Gurley's getting 6 touchdowns this week, and I just took him out of my lineup. So
tough titty if you don't like it. All right. I got Boston Scott in my lineup. Anyways, my tight end is Hunter Henry. Like that man a lot. Tight end sucks. All right. So I can pick a guy that's going to get at least like 6-7 targets, most likely. I'll like it. All right. And then my flex is a man who's going up against a defense that is certainly interesting. Let's put it that way. That is AJ Brown is my flex against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hey, love it.
The Steelers have been a little something. Let's just put it that way. A little bit of something. And I like AJ Brown. He's a good player. And I think that game, this actually might be my betting lock of the week, is that the Titans-Steelers game is going to be my sneaky over lock of the week.
Oh, yeah. I completely agree.
I like that game to be high scoring. In my defense, I went with the other cash game full week lock of the week, and that is the Eagles defense. How the Eagles are not 4,900, right up there with the Bills, blows my melon. But here we are. The Eagles defense is 4,100 on FanDuel. They are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're the 11th highest price defense on FanDuel this week. Come on now.
Dodgers just scored again, by the way.
They did.
Yeah.
The Eagles are going to sack Daniel Jones 12 times this week. That's my Leinenkugel lock of the week.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is 12 sacks by the Eagles. But other than that, that's my lineup for the week. Anybody got any parting shots?
Parting shots. I will say, I remember when earlier before I was saying I've been struggling with my FanDuel lineup. I have no money. Kyler Murray and D-Hop were my stack all up until like the last second. And then I was like, all right, I guess I'll just give up.
Nice.
And I'm not confident as confident in mine as yours, but
yeah, I'm a big fan of mine now after making numerous.
You gotta have some
changes.
differences. You gotta have some differences. And hope something happens.
I also just put Kamara in my lineup, so
yeah. I also think that while we're watching this game right here, Kevin Cash needs to take Tyler Glasnow out of this game.
Yeah, he should not still be in here. There's one out. I get you're in a double play situation, but
yeah, there's one out. Runners on first and third. He's 107 pitches in, and he just gave up another run.
Yeah,
we talk about how electric Mookie Betts was that inning base running wise.
Yeah, they've also had Ryan Yarbrough warming up for like the last inning.
I mean,
they got a guy warm.
You don't score runs without taking chances like that, and he almost got picked off at second after stealing second. He almost got thrown out at third, stole third, and then scores on a ground ball to first.
Mookie Betts is the second best player in baseball.
And the only reason this guy is on third base right now is because of Mookie Betts' base run. That guy wouldn't be on third. Mookie Betts just produced his own run and possibly the next run for the Dodgers, all by just being good at base run.
God, I love Mookie Betts.
You have to love it.
I love that guy so much.
There's no situation in which this shouldn't be Glasnow's last base runner or last batter, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely not. I get his stuff doesn't look bad. He's still throwing hard.
He's been
right, but like we have a series here. You can't have him pitch 100 pitches and expect him to go in 3 days.
Yeah, I
well, they don't.
They expect him to go 1 and 5, I think, and then relief in 7 if they need him.
Yeah, the days of using a starter on short rest in the playoffs, I think, are gone.
Well, they used him on very short rest last series.
I don't know if they're gone. I just think that we happen to have two teams with really deep rotations.
Also, they get breaks this series.
Oh,
yeah, there are two breaks. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Straight.
I didn't know that.
So
well, that changes a little bit, but still.
Yeah, I think 110 pitches is a
Anyways,
a little much.
Anyways, we're gonna continue watching this game off air. But thank you guys for watching. I know I said this episode was gonna be short. We're like an hour and 10 minutes. this time, so it's a little shorter. We started like 10 minutes to 9. That's when we started, Mark.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep, there we go. Base hit.
Yep, that's another run. Anyways, make sure to follow us on Twitter at HotStoveWMYO, even though I haven't posted anything there in like a month.
You should keep that Twitter account active. You're pretty good with it.
Well, I post whenever there's a new video out. Really, I just haven't.
Yeah,
posted.
but I mean like other stuff.
Yeah. If we have other stuff, we'll post other stuff. Other than that, make sure to like and subscribe down below for
It's never
some more
gonna
fire content and comment as well. Ring the bell to make sure that you know when we're putting videos out. So whoever it was, they finally took them out. Whoever it was asking me, when's the bit gonna stop? Never. Was it you, Mark?
That was me, and I just said this bit's never going to die.
The bit, it's not. As long as we have a YouTube channel, it's not happening. Anyways, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with a longer, normal sized episode, even though again, this episode wasn't that short. But
That
anyway,
extra 20 minutes is what gets you.
it really is. You know, I bet people they're like, oh, and this is another problem, right? I keep talking. I won't shut up. But people are like, oh, damn, I wish that I could watch this for an hour and 10 minutes instead of an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
That last 40 minutes is really keeping me from watching. That's why we don't have 1 million views yet.
Exactly.
This
one viral.
What did I say?
This one's going viral. This is the one that gets
This
us.
is the one. Thank you for listening. If this is the one, I can't wait to be monetized soon. Anyways, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.